Hi, I'm Alex Paulton. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Talking Timepieces, where we talk about watch collecting and horology. Today, we're going to take a look at this Nomos Club Sport Neomatik 42, a very German watch. It's highly legible. You can see the Bauhaus influences that are all through Nomos's work, frankly. And like I said, very German. I originally was going to make the headline, it's a watch. It tells precise time. It is made very well. Because that's all of these things. I do have one issue with it that I'll mention in the close-up. And tell me if you can guess what it is. Let's turn the camera around and take a look at this really sharp watch. But before I do, please subscribe. It really does help the channel. Or at least leave a like. And tell your friends. Thanks. Here's the Nomos Club Sport Neomatik 42 date in black. A very, very sharp watch, as I've said in the introduction. It is really an excellent example of making a clean design beautiful. I've always said that some companies really, really do clean watches well. Panerai is one. IWC is another. And Nomos is definitely one of them as well. Well, the Patek Calatrava, the Lange, Saxonia. I mean, there are a lot of very clean watches out there. Most of them are dress watches, however. Most sports watches tend to be a little bit busy, with the exceptions of like Fliegers and Panerai and some other divers. But the Nomos really comes across as a good-looking, clean, and sharp watch. Now, it originally came out, an earlier version came out, same size, 42 and all, Neomatik, quote-unquote, diver, because even though it has 30 atmospheres of water resistance, it doesn't have a timer bezel, but you could dive with it. Now, the original Neomatik 42 Club Sport had a flat link metal bracelet that did not line up, did not conform to the case. It was more of a straight across presentation like Milanese, so it was straight across, so it didn't really suit the watch as well as this very clean and sharp 3-link conformal bracelet, evoking a bit, I guess, of the oyster. But, you know, the trouble with having a 3-link bracelet, since Rolex was one of the first, and 3-link bracelets have a certain style, everything tends to look like the Rolex bracelet, even though it does not necessarily an intentional act. But this one looks very, very good on this watch. And all in all, just a really highly legible, very presentable piece. There are a couple of things that I really like about this watch. Let me zoom in and show you. First off is I like that the screw-down crown has an indicator for if it is out. See, there's a little red band under the crown, so that way if the crown is unscrewed, you see the red band and you know that the watch is compromised. Another thing I like is it has a very, very featureless appearing dial, but if you look closely, you'll see that the indices and numbers are almost inset. They have an inset look. There's a bit of a concavity around an appearance to be under the numbers and indices, and it really makes it pop in a very, very subtle way. And then, of course, the engraved circles in the subdial is very nice. And then also the black date wheel matches the face, balances the 9 o'clock indicator, and also the letters on the date wheel mimic the style and a bit of the raised letter and effect of the indices. And in many, many cases, a watch does not have matching style between the indices and the date wheel. Now, another aspect of this watch that is also very cool is, here, let me get the hands out of the way for that, is if you turn the date turns in both directions, which is a really elegant statement to the craftsmanship of the watchmakers who made this in-house movement. And it is a famous in-house movement. Well, I shouldn't say the movement itself is a famous in-house movement, but the Deutsche Uhrenwerk is a famous manufacturer of movements, and movement inside is a Deutsche Uhrenwerk 6101 automatic with a 42-hour power reserve. It's a 27-joule movement. Now, if you think about it, let's compare it to a couple of other pieces that have very clean dials. When I was saying about IWC, unfortunately, that my current IWC is not as clean a dial as I would like for comparison, but just pretend that the Saint-Exupéry stuff and the date wheel the second time zone wheel are gone, and think of it as a straight up and down pilot's watch. And you'll see that the Nomos has the clarity and legibility of a pilot's watch, but an even more austere presentation because the minute track is there, but very subdued. If you look at it with, say, for example, a watch that really has a nice three-hand face, the JLC Polaris. One of the nice things about the Polaris that I really love is the multi-textured face, and yet the Nomos gets away with looking as sharp. The JLC, the multi-textured face does make the JLC look a little bit more luxurious, and the fact that it's applied indices instead of painted indices, or I should say applied, but not applied in the sense that they're metal indices, and the texture of the face, and the fact that it does have, this is also a poser diver, because this has 100 meters of water resistance, and it has a timing bezel, but they neglected to have it screw down in this model, the three-hander automatic, so it's not the most reliable timing device. I use it for cooking, and that's about as far as I trust it. But if you look at the actual presentation of the time, you'll see that the Nomos is really more legible even than something with as clean and legible a face as the JLC Polaris. On the time grapher, as you see, it's running about +5, +6. I've seen it go +4, which is within COSC. And this is an in-house movement, the Deutsche Uhrenwerk 6101. Okay, let's take some quick measurements. We know it's 42 across the top, and that's what it is, but I just wanted to verify the thickness because it sits so nicely, and it's only 10.3 thick, which is really nice, gives you a very good presentation. And in the case of, let's look at this one really quickly, the JLC, it's 10.8. So the Nomos with date wheel is thinner than the JLC without date wheel. So all in all, it really is a beautiful piece. Let's throw it on the wrist real quick. Wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Hesselite Man in the Moon Speedmaster on a NATO. And throw this on. I've heard that this is a real scratch monster, scratch magnet, and I haven't seen too many scratches, but I'm also currently, it's winter and I'm wearing it all with long sleeve shirts. We'll see what happens in the summer when there's a chance for this to bang up against something unprotected. So, it sits very well. I'll get the calipers out. We'll do a quick measurement as well and do the thickness, because it does present itself very well as far as slimness and size ratio. The one issue I have are these lugs. They are comically long in comparison to the size of the case. And I'm a lucky person. I have big wrists, and the lugs work with my wrist. But if I did not have wrists this thick, it would totally look wrong. Here, let's just see very quickly. I'm wrist to wrist. Wrist top to bottom, about 59 and change. And this watch, lug to lug, is 52. All right. So if your wrists are not able to handle a 52 lug to lug length, then I would get the smaller. Luckily, they do offer this watch in a 37. So you can get this beauty and cleanliness and sharpness in a smaller watch. But if you're going to get the 42, you should have big wrists. So that was the Nomos Club Sport Neomatik 42. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. Like it at least. Let your friends know. Thanks for taking the time, and let's turn the camera around and close out the episode. So that was the Club Sport Neomatik 42 from Nomos. A very sharp, clean, and beautiful watch. The lugs are a little long for my taste, but it works for me. Your mileage may vary, but thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and if you like the content, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.